Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited because we are going to be exposing some things, spilling some tea, so it's going to be a good video. For today's video, we are going to be exposing Tommy Hilfiger. So I did work there for a year and a half when I was 15 to 16. Yeah, so it was like a pretty long time, and I definitely got a good feel of not necessarily the company, but especially the store that I worked at. So I have my little notes here in my book of everything that I want to talk about and tell you guys. I left purely for the reason just that it was so bad there, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, to be fair, I had been there for a while, and also I want this to be noted that this was my first job, so I didn't really know what work was like supposed to be, that you're supposed to be like treated fairly and like actually go on your breaks properly, and like my parents kind of were telling me like this doesn't seem right, but you know, I'm like 15, 16 years old. I'm like, it's fine, like it's a part-time job, this is whatever, right? No, first of all, don't ever let your job treat you like you're shit, because that will make it look not worth your while at all, and it just makes it so not enjoyable. And like, I feel like even though it is work, you should still enjoy your job. Yeah, but I just wanted to give like that little background into it. So like I said, I did make some points, some notes in my book, so I just want to like go through those things. So first of all, we're just gonna get right into the discounts and the deals, because I know everyone's probably wondering about that. So you did get, where I worked, it was an outlet store too, so I don't know if it's just at that location, but I would have to say I did not have the best experience there. But yeah, discounts and deals, discounts are always good. So since it was an outlet store, everything was always on sale and at a cheaper price, but we did get 40% on top of the sales that were already going on, as well as like clearance and stuff, so that was really good. As well, I don't remember this exactly. I don't know if it was definitely once a month, but I don't know if it was for a week or just like a few days or one weekend or something, but it was that you got I think it was 60% off, regular stuff and clearance. Everything was always on sale anyways though. But yeah, so I have to say the discounts were pretty nice. I did get quite a few stuff from there, got stuff from my family and my friends, even though we weren't supposed to. But obviously it's like you're not going to use all the discount just for yourself, like literally your entire paycheck would go there. So yeah, I have to say the discount was pretty sweet, but that was about the only thing that was good there. Next I wanted to move on to the employees, so like my coworkers. I'd have to say that my coworkers were very nice, like no one was overly rude to each other. There was probably like maybe one or two people that had an attitude, but overall I'd say like everyone was pretty nice, pretty friendly to each other. There also was no sense of like comradeship, if that makes sense. Like if you really were in dire need of someone to take your shift, no one really would, or like if you had like any issues, kind of like people wouldn't really help you with it. So people were nice, were friendly, but it's like when it came to actually doing like the work part, no one was really down for that, and like looking back on it, it's probably understandable considering how not good it was. Also, I do have to say that employees did not last long there, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it wasn't because they were getting fired. I think it was just because people really didn't like it there. So it was like people really moved through there very quickly. It was either like they lasted a few months and that's it. There's probably a few people that were there for like 1 or 2 years maybe, and then they left shortly after that as well. So pretty much everyone that I started with when I started working there was gone by the time I left. I'm pretty sure I was the only one left besides like the managers. And you know, it made sense, but yeah. As well, it was very kind of like cliquey between employees. So I keep saying this, and like the employees were nice, but there were like little things here and there. So like I feel like it was very cliquey. I met some very nice people there, but it was very much like in groups. So more towards the end, like people started becoming more in groups, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, like I understand I was younger, but it was the same time of like, they'd be like going out and doing things, and like we all had each other on Snapchat and Instagram, so we'd all see each other going out, hanging out, and like even now I still have them on Snapchat, and it's like I knew some of these people, or like would talk to some of these people. I even went to school with some of these people too, but you know, like you still see them hanging out and whatever, which is fine. But it's like when people are making plans and stuff right in front of you, it's like that is so rude and just so like, you know, you kind of stand there like you don't really know what to do. And that would happen a lot because a lot of the time we would be working in same departments and there'd be people talking to each other, and there's like kind of just the person there that's just like, you know, hearing your conversation, but it's like definitely not for them. And obviously when anyone's like kind of excluded from plans, obviously that makes you feel like kind of shitty. So, you know, I understand it's not like a school or like a, like you're not really there to make friends, but that's just how it happens. Like through work you make friends. So I would say it was very much cliquey, very much like people did not last long, but they were still nice and friendly. It just was, I don't know, it's kind of like a messed up dynamic in my opinion. So I thought it was very strange and weird. Yeah, but that's about it for the employees. So moving on to management and just general problems in the store. So I'm not doing this to like shit on anyone in particular. I'm definitely not going to name people, but there were certain managers that let things slide or just like did not care at all. Like if employees were not doing their job or like not you know, not like being proper people, like they just did not care. And then there were other managers that were just completely too harsh on the employees. So I remember this one girl that I was friends with. We used to like talk in store and like message each other on Snapchat and everything. And I remember being there. I think I'm not sure if we were closing, but I remember the actual store manager came out and started talking to her. She was the sweetest girl. She's so nice. And she was talking to her, and I was kind of like I could half hear. I was like a little bit a ways in the department, but I just like look over and I see her crying, like she's like bawling her eyes out, and I was like, oh my god. And I waited for my store manager to leave, and I went over to her and I was like, what's wrong, are you okay? And she's like, no, she's just like saying that I don't do my job and I'm like a shitty worker and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is the nicest girl ever. She was hardworking, she was like good to the customers, she talked to them, she'd be helpful. And I'm just like, I didn't understand, like, really. And I was like, you can't let her talk to you like that, like you can't let them be that way towards you. And she was like, you know, she was very like a nice person, so she wouldn't have said anything. I wouldn't have said anything either. It was my first job and I was like younger, so I understand it. She was maybe like 2 years older, I think. But I was just like, oh my god. And she's like, it's fine, I'm gonna quit soon, I'm gonna leave. But it's just like, I never understood how you could talk to your employees like that, and let alone make your employee cry in the middle of the store in front of customers and feel no ways about it. I just was so like appalled by that. I was like, I can't believe that she just did that. So that was one thing, and that's like one of multiple incidents that happened. Another thing is management would get mad at you for calling in sick. I remember, okay, I called in sick on my 16th birthday because like they scheduled me, and I was like, obviously I wasn't going to work on my 16th birthday, so I called and I was like, I'm sick, you know, and they got mad at me, which, you know, I guess it's understandable, but at the same time, like, if it wasn't just me, like, this happened multiple times, I'm just giving my example of it, but it's like, they would get mad at you and be like, it's your job, you have to cover the shift, you have to do all this stuff, now it puts so much work on us. And it's like, I understand that, you know, it does put kind of like a problem for everything, and like you have to rearrange things, but at the same time, it's like people do get sick, they do get injured, or things happen or whatever, so it's like you have to be understanding of that, and you can't just get mad at people for being sick and make them feel awful about it. I think that's just absolutely wrong, but that was a big issue. Another thing was that the management was actually pretty impolite, and again, it's not everyone, it was like certain people, but there was certain times where like there'd be a lot of attitude or a lot of like disrespectfulness, and I'm the type of person where like it doesn't matter. I understand that there's like a hierarchy at work, and like you have to, you know, discipline people, and you know, you're in charge, but at the same time it's like you don't talk down to people and you don't make, like, belittle people and make them feel less about themselves. It doesn't matter where you are. So I would just always get so mad about that, and that really pissed me off all the time. But that was a common occurrence there. As well, they asked employees to go, like, above and beyond, and, like, I understand you want the store to do well, but at the same time, we're just sales associates. These are part-time jobs, and, like, there shouldn't be that much pressure on sales associates, you know what I mean? So, like, for example, we'd be asked to do, like, difficult tasks. So I remember we had to, like, rearrange the shelves literally off of the wall. Like, they were detachable shelves, so you could, you know, like, literally build the walls yourself of how you want it to look. So we had to do that probably, like, at least once a week, rebuild the walls. And these detachable shelves were heavy, so heavy. And I remember my boss, she knew that I was a cheerleader at the time. And yes, I was a cheerleader, but I had absolutely no upper body strength. So she was like, oh, you're a cheerleader, perfect, you can lift this heavy stuff. And so she started asking me to lift, like, these heavy shelves and build these walls, and I was like, oh yeah, no problem, I'll do it, because I'm 15, 16, it's my first job, I don't want to upset her, I don't want to, like, look like I can't do shit. So I was like, yeah, no problem. So I started doing this stuff. It was, like, causing me back pain, and I was like, it was, like, tiring me out so much. I was still in high school, and I was like, you know, but she would always ask me to do it. Meanwhile, they were perfectly capable men of doing that. And not saying that women can't do that, but it's like, you know, it's easier for men to lift, like, all these heavy things. And I'm just like, I am, like, this tiny 16-year-old girl. I was like, I can't be doing this all the time. But, you know, I still did it because I'm dumb. But, you know, I just think it, like, was ridiculous to ask some, like, a little girl to do that, you know? But I don't know. So that was a lot of the thing of, like, they would ask us to do difficult tasks like that. And some of the stuff was pretty dangerous too. Like, they'd have boxes really, really high up, and we'd have to climb these really high ladders. I remember I literally almost fell off, like, a bunch of times, and I just think that shouldn't be acceptable in a workplace. But anyways, moving on. So as well, they'd make you stay way past your shift. So for example, I think we would close at maybe 9, and we were supposed to be done at 9:30. So keep in mind, this is a clothing store, everything gets messed up. People would literally pick stuff up, throw it on the table, and walk away. So that did happen a lot, and we did have a high volume of customers at our store. But the thing is, we are scheduled until 9:30, right? And there would be times where we wouldn't be leaving until 11:30, 12, 12:30. And the thing is, they wouldn't tell you. They wouldn't, you know, give you extra breaks or anything. So my parents would be sitting outside the store waiting for me to come out. I wouldn't be able to, like, text them or anything. And they'd be, like, texting me, getting mad, what the heck's going on? Why are you in there for so long? You have school tomorrow, I have work tomorrow. And it's like, it just did not work. But it was like, they would not let you leave no matter what. They literally would hold you hostage. My sister said that one time. They're like, they're holding you hostage in there. I was like, well, yeah, but this is my job. Yeah, so I was just thinking, especially, like, if you're younger, like, again, 15, 16 in high school, it's like, you have school. I don't drive, my parents are picking me up, they have work, like, you can't be staying there all that time, you know? But it's like, they didn't, I don't know, they didn't understand it, I guess, I have no idea. It was just crazy. And even when you told them you had to go at a certain time, they're like, just do this, just make sure you did this, let me check this first. It was just absolutely crazy, like, you could not get out of there, no matter what. So next thing was, like, I feel like it was very unfair there. I don't know what it was. I remember there was one time we weren't really allowed to wear, like, branded stuff at all. So even just one time I was wearing a Brandy Melville shirt, light pink, in the tiniest writing here it said Malibu, and I remember they came up to me and they're like, Alyssa, you can't wear that, and I was like, oh, sorry. And they're like, well, you should know you shouldn't be wearing that or something, and I was like, okay, I won't wear it. Like, I didn't really see the problem with it, but it was fine. If they don't want me to wear that, it's whatever. And then I remember there was this one guy there that would always wear this gray sweater with red writing on it that said New York in big ass letters, and he was literally wearing that this exact same day that they told me I couldn't wear that shirt, and he would always wear that sweater. So I remember they came over and told me that, and I looked over at him and he's wearing that sweater, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was like, why can I not wear this shirt that my hair literally covered that it says Malibu. You can't even see it. But this guy in big red letters that says New York on his sweater can wear that all the time no matter what. It never made sense to me, and I was just like, why? So I thought that was very unfair, and I was like, didn't understand. And then another thing was, I was there for a year and a half, like I said. They picked and choose like certain people to go on register, and that was like my dream. I don't know why, ever since I was little, I was like, I just want to be a cashier and like cash people out, and I thought it would be so fun. So this girl that came, she was really nice, we were friends and everything, but she was 17 at the time, I was 16, and they trained her on cash like right away as soon as she got there, and then another girl after her, the same thing, and they came months after me, and I was like, okay, it's fine, whatever. So eventually I got pretty fed up that like they weren't putting me on cash, and I asked them, I was like, why can I not go on cash? And they're like, oh yeah, we'll train you, no problem. And then it was like a little while later, and they were like, actually, we can't train you because you're not 18. And I was like, okay. But then after, I was like, I didn't know how old the other girls were either. So then I found out later that they were only 17. So I was like, okay, they're 17. I'm turning 17 in a few months. I was like, why can I not go on cash? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And I don't know if they thought I wasn't like capable or they just didn't want me on there. I have no idea. But that frustrated me so much to the point where I was like, I don't understand. And that was also a reason for me leaving, that it was like there was no moving up at all. I was just stuck in the same place for a year and a half, which was, like I said, it was very frustrating. And I thought that was super unfair, so I don't know. And I know I had other people of my, like, other co-workers experiencing this as well, and we would like talk about it and be like we're so mad about this, and it's not fair, and like we don't understand. So that was another thing. Next point is that we were not allowed in the back room at all. Like, people would ask us for sizes, and we'd have to actually walkie them and be like, can we go check for the size? And they'd either say yes or no. But it's like most of the time it was a no. They were very clear all the time, do not go in the back. Like, if you go in the back, you have to have approval, and like they just did not want you back there. So there would be some times where we'd go back there, and they just made it very clear that like you can't go back there. And like we don't know, it didn't make sense why, because like that's where we would store the extra hangers, the extra clothes, the like everything. So we were always like, okay, whatever. You know, it's like we're sales associates. We're walking around the floors. We're talking to customers, and it's nonstop for hours. And the water cooler was also in the back where we could go get drinks of water. And, you know, sometimes we'd like go get water. And eventually, they let that happen for a while, but eventually got to a point where they literally told us, you cannot go to the back to get water. Like, you can't get water. Are you kidding me? We're standing on our feet for hours. We're walking around talking to customers. You're gonna get thirsty. Like, and they just did not want you going to the back for nothing. Not for water, anything. I don't know if it's because they thought we would, like, steal something, or, like, they didn't want us, you know, being off of the floor. I understand not being off the floor, but to get water, I just thought that was so ridiculous. And it's like, you know, like... It's just so, I don't even know the words I'm looking for, but it's, I mean, like, that's, you need water. You need water. How do they expect you to go hours without water? And that's another thing, like, the breaks, too, they weren't scheduled properly. They wouldn't tell you when to go on your break. It was just so, like, basically just the entirety of management was so disorganized and dysfunctional, and it just caused like chaos for everything else, to the point where, like, you know, I mean, the extent of like they weren't scheduling you properly, wouldn't send you on breaks, wouldn't let you get water. It was like we're freaking people, and we can't, you know, like we're being treated like animals. Like, the last thing that I want to say is like we just generally got in trouble a lot for like every little thing that we did, but specifically inside of the clothes, there was we called them soft tags, so it was like a little tag attached inside like the side of the shirt or the pants or whatever, and that was actually like the sensor that would set off the door when you walk out. So those things, that's pretty much how people would steal. Like, they would rip them off, hide them in pockets under like the stands, in the fitting rooms, everything. And they would always encourage us. They'd be like, if you find soft tags, bring it to us. Like, we need to count and like see how much merchandise we lost, and you know, like we have to know if people are stealing. So we're like, okay. But the thing is, they'd tell us we have to bring it to them, but whenever we would bring it to them, they'd get mad at us. And it could be soft tags from like a few days ago, a month ago, whatever. It's like you just don't see them. But if you bring them a whole pile of soft tags that you found, they would get so mad at you, and they would be like, you're not doing your job, you're not making sure people aren't stealing, you're not like watching people. And it's like, if the tags are there from yesterday or the day before or a week ago or whatever, it's not your fault. It's the other person that was working there that day, but all the blame would be on you. So we'd get scared to bring them soft tags, and we'd be like, so it would make us like hide them and or like get someone else and be like, can you like give this to them? I don't want this to get in trouble. It was just like, no. And even if you brought them and be like, oh, I found this in this department, they'd be like, well, who was working there? It was always like a blame game, and it was just so bad, and it made us like scared to do what we were supposed to do, you know what I mean? There was a lot of like fear and like, you know, it was just really bad in the job. So yeah, that's about it. That is all my notes that I have written down for here. I'm going to go ahead and rate my job working experience at Tommy Hilfiger. I'm going to give it a 3. Just because of like everything that went on there, and I think a lot of it was definitely inappropriate like work behavior, and I don't know, it was a lot to deal with. But like it sucks because that was my first job, and like looking back on it now, like I would never let a workplace treat me like that because of where I work now, that I'm treated so well there. But looking back on it, I'm like, I can't believe that I let myself like work there. It was just, they were rude, they were, you know, unfair, it was just absolutely crazy. So I would have to say the only thing good about working there was, I mean, the nice people that I met, and the discounts, definitely the discounts. Discounts are always good, but yeah, I definitely would not recommend working there. And also, I found it kind of weird. Right before I filmed this video, I was looking on YouTube to see if anyone else had made a video like this. I wanted to hear their experience as well. And I could not find a single video that was people, you know, kind of sharing their experience working there. So I have to say, I don't know if that's just like the company doesn't want you to see it, conspiracy theories, I don't know. Or if it's just maybe I'm the only person with an awful work experience, I don't know. But oh, even I was working, okay, so I work at Starbucks now, but I had a girl that worked with me at Tommy Hilfiger come in there the other day because it's in the same area. And she was like, do you remember me? I was like, oh yeah, hey, how are you? Da, da, da. And we were talking about like Tommy Hilfiger, and like, do you still work there and everything? And I just found it so funny because we were both talking about how like we did not like it at all and how awful it was, and it was like, you know, so I was like, I know other people that worked at that specific location had the same experience, so I'm just putting it out there. I don't know if it's every single Tommy Hilfiger that's like that, it might not be, but this was my experience there. I have to say it was not good at all, but that was my experience. I just want to share that with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. That's going to be it for it. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know down below, and I might make a second video answering your questions or doing a Q&A or anything. But yeah, that's going to be all for the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!